Hello, my name is Janice B. Gordon. This is Scale Your Sales podcast. Welcome to the Scale Your Sales podcast, listed number 9 of 42 best podcasts for every sales professional in 2021. I am Janice B. Gordon, the customer growth expert, recommended by LinkedIn as one of 15 innovative sales influencers to follow in 2021. Hello and welcome to the review of the last 20 episodes of Scale Your Sales podcast. Scale Your Sales is a weekly podcast that launches 12 midnight UK time. It's rated as the 9th of 42 best podcasts that every sales professional should listen to in 2021. That's been 2 years running. It's dedicated to amazing experts and professionals, and with a great deal of thanks to them that so generously share their experience, stories, and strategies. Now, I know I learn a great deal from my guests, and listeners from the reviews that I get do too. So the show was created for B2B founders, executives, sales leaders, and key accounts managers and customer serving professionals to engage with the lively debate and conversations that we have, covering subjects like customer experience, strategic revenue growth, and modern sales know-how. So let's delve into some of the episodes that we've covered in the last 20. I love what Han Black said. This was in episode 96 of the Scale Your Sales podcast. Build a consolidated enablement engine, she said. Bring together the well-intended random acts of enablement into strategic Center for Excellence for a thoughtful approach on universal best practice in sales methodologies, sales cadence, along with recruiting, ramping, and nurturing sales talent, she said. Han is an incredible person. She's got an incredible story of tenacity. Watching her city being bombed while she sat in a boat in international waters with her family. They were escaping for a better life. And then she talks about the struggles of progressing her career despite the unconscious bias and a string of replacements by less talented people, and subsequently being fired. And still, after this experience, she still believes that people have positive intent. Han is VIP of revenue enablement at Juniper Networks. Beyond being a seasoned technology executive, she is a dedicated mother, global speaker, and author of Embrace Your Edge. Pave your own path as an immigrant woman in the workplace. So make sure you get her book and learn from her experience, because she's got an amazing story. Lovely woman. And then we had the 100th episode, and this was Kate Bradley Chernis, who is founder of and CEO of Lately. Lately is one of the only social media management platforms that creates content for you. Isn't that great? With the power of AI, Kate explains that the neuroscience of music and how she got Walmart's annual return of 130% ROI for 3 years with a spreadsheet. Now, this spreadsheet was the beginning of Lately. Lately AI helps improve your social media content to better engage your customers. Kate shares her experience of the blatant sexism when pitching to investors, as she's had to do many times, and how so few women businesses get funded. Despite this, women-owned businesses turn profits sooner. It was a great honor interviewing Kate on the 100th episode. So make sure you go in. I'm so excited because I do get incredible guests that share incredible stories that we can all learn from. And no less, we have Jon Ferrara, a serial entrepreneur. Jon shares many stories about growing up with his dad, who had a car dealership, and his rise to being a reluctant salesman before identifying a problem and setting about solving it using his computer science skills. Then we had Goldmine was born, and Jon became one of the early pioneers of CRM for small business enterprises. Jon has reimagined CRM again by building Nimble, a platform that I use. And it's a simple CRM for Office 365 and G Suite, and it's brilliant. The social engagement is incredible. So you must check that out. And actually in the show notes, Jon gives you a code so that you can get a discount trial, a longer period. Jon said that instead, companies selling and telling people with how great they are, the modern seller must teach their customers how they can be great, which is really interesting, teaching your customers how they can be great themselves. Jon shares a great insight about how he faced death and how it changed him. You're really going to love this interview with this amazing man, Jon Ferrara. This is episode 101. And then episode 102 was with Cynthia Barnes, who's co-founder of the National Association of Women Sales Professionals. Now, the organization sends their employees to the National Association of Women Sales Professionals to supplement the sales training. Now, the NAWSP gives professional development sales approaches created by women for women. The emphasis is really overcoming the unique challenges that women face, particularly in sales, while amplifying their innate strengths that they have. Now, Cynthia is a LinkedIn top sales influencer, and she created Thrive, the success strategy for women in sales, and is author of Reach for the Top 1%, which is to show up as your authentic self. Now, we talk a lot about this on the podcast and what that really means and how she has actually done it herself. So Cynthia is known for motivating others to feel confident, empowered, and brave. So please do go and listen to Cynthia. You will be inspired by her. Now, someone I've been inspired by for many years, I think it was like way back in the 1990s, I came across this woman. I've followed her progress ever since. And this is Joanna Black. So it was really wonderful to get her on the show. Now, Joanna Black is America's leading authority in referral selling. Joanne talks how to build a referral culture and why cold calling is not buyer or customer centric, stating when salespeople get referral introduced to their buyer, the trust the buyer has for the referral source transfers to the salesperson. So it's, it's almost like a free ticket, really. So it's really important. And I do talk a lot about this in Scale Your Sales framework, my framework. Because really, as I say, it's almost like a free ticket, but often we don't ask for referrals. So Joanna in this episode talks about, how you go about that, what you need to have in place. The conversation is different, and so is the relationship when you're referred in. So really important, listen to that. Now, I know I said I'm covering some of the 20, but there's so many great people. I will have to miss out a few, otherwise we'll be here all day. You have just got to go and listen to Scale Your Sales podcast. This is just the highlight to entice entice you in. So Marcus believes that businesses that exist solely to make money are bad businesses. They should serve their people, their customers, and their community, he says. Then they make strong profits if they do this. There's so much in this episode. We talk about remuneration and how he's got very strong views about how that should be changed, and his view on shareholders and investors. Marcus has got very strong views, and I love listening to him. He's got an incredible podcast as well, so make sure that you look him up. He talks about how coaching is the superpower, and this is why, you know, I don't teach sellers how to sell, because actually often, and I'm sure Marcus will agree, a lot of the sales training they have really doesn't add to the bottom line. So I agree with him that, you know, coaching really is the superpower, but not many sales managers really do it well. And so, you know, he talks about how order takers, that's what we end up with, are zookeepers. And, you know, he says that they're going to be replaced by the likes of Siri, Alexa, and much more. So, you know, get your pens out, strap yourself in, and pay close attention to episode 104 with Marcus Cauchi. He is never shy in coming forward. So, again, it's a real honor to speak to Brynne Tillman. Yeah, this is in episode 105. Now, Brynne is the CEO of Social Sales Link, and is also the LinkedIn Whisperer, and has been in sales and sales training for the past 3 decades. Now, Brynne focuses 100% on helping professionals convert their LinkedIn connections to sales conversations. Now, Brynne believes that social selling is about building relationships, being a resource, by providing value and insights, and understanding that the sales will come when the time is right. You must bring value, she says, to your prospects, customers, and referral partners, ultimately slowing down your outreach to build those relationships that will ultimately speed up your outcome, which is a really great phrase. So my partner in crime is the wonderful Heidi Solomon-Orlick. She serves as VP of Global Sales for VXI Global Solutions. This is a 625 million multinational outsourcing company. She is also founder of Girls Who Sell, LLC. And Girls Who Sell empowers has an empowerment fund and non-profit organization. Now, Girls Who Sell companies are committed to closing the gap in B2B sales and bringing the largest pipeline of diverse early stage career talent, offering training, scholarships, mentoring, career placements for college and high school age young women interested in a career in sales. Now, I often on the Scale Your Sales podcast talk about diversity in sales. I often ask the question and get a variety of views. So this is why I really connected with Heidi. And we have a book that's coming out where Heidi has pulled together women in sales professionals who've written chapters in the book. So next year you'll see me promoting more about this wonderful book with some incredible women that have participated in it. So I absolutely love and completely buy into what Heidi says, that people not only buy people they like, but people they trust. And trust is based on authenticity, and customers solve a customer's challenge, she says, make them the hero, she says, and they will be customers for life. And in this episode, Heidi gives lots of examples of how this has happened in her career. Wonderful woman, a wonderful campaign, Girls Who Sell. So look out for more on that. So in my experience, most B2B sales is conducted as if it was in 1985. Sellers must convince buyers to pay attention. Now, these are not my words. This is the words of the great David Meerman Scott. Now, he says you must educate and inform instead of interrupt and sell. And this is certainly what we aim to do in social selling, but also David goes so much deeper into this with all of the science, and he explains the neuroscience of why virtual presentations are actually more intimate than face-to-face situations, which is interesting. You wouldn't have thought so, but he's done lots of research and talks about this in his book, Fanocracy. Now, the most powerful marketing force in the world. Now, it isn't actually social media, email blasts, search ads, or those 15-second commercials before YouTube. You've got to read the book to find out more about this. Fandom, that's what it is. It's fandom. So it was a great honor. I've read lots of David Meerman Scott books over the years, and he's a real influencer and a music fan as well. Actually, that's quite a theme. I've actually interviewed quite a few kind of sales experts that are either used to be drummers or, guitarists, and they're kind of big into rock and jazz and so forth. So yeah, make sure you do go and watch on our YouTube channel or listen to David Meerman Scott, and make sure you follow all of these experts. They're incredibly giving. Okay, so episode 110. It's easy to assume, because we're programmed, that buyers are 50% through the buying process before they speak to a salesperson. Andrea Waltz, in episode 110, she challenges this, stating that if you're not getting rejected, then you're not making enough attempts. Sellers must be proactive, and her words are go for no. Now, I kind of challenged her a little bit around this, and because it's really interesting how that kind of sits with the kind of modern day, and especially what David Meerman Scott said previously, that, we don't want to disrupt and sell, we need to educate and inform. So I love getting a diversity of perspective, which is why I have a diversity of people. So it's really interesting, the research that Andrea has done. Now, many people, she says, skirt around and avoid asking for the sale or challenging questions because of fear of being rejected. And Connie Kandinsky also talked about this in her episode 113, the fear of rejection. So this is a real theme for salespeople. Andrea talks about how social media has helped create more diversity in industries, in the sales industry, stating that social media is a medium women are particularly strong in. So make sure you go and listen to Andrea Waltz. Having worked for 17 years in a variety of procurement functions, Mark Schenkius, author of The Other Side of Sales, has developed a method to bridge the gap between sales and procurement. Now, although there's not a real big difference between sales and procurement, we happen, he says, to sit on the other side of the table, or on opposite sides of the table. But Mark says we're both, that's sales and procurement, have similar objectives to fulfill. We both have targets to achieve. We both know how to negotiate. We both have interpersonal skills. We both have families. We're both human. It's often in sales that the salespeople really do not like dealing with procurement. And procurement, it's really their job. It's their job to save money. It's their job to get the best deal. But we often look at it that we're on an opposing sides. And in his book, he helps to bridge that gap. After all, a lot of it's on mindset. If you go in that you're going to have a problem, of course, you're going to have a problem. But if you actually go in with a different perspective about negotiation, he gives you the tools to actually have that different perspective, to really understand the other side and to negotiate so much better. So you really must read the book, The Other Side of Sales. Because Mark goes into great detail as how you can make it difficult for a buyer to focus on price. So it means you're negotiating on value, and that's what you really want. So this is a fantastic episode to really kind of get over the fact that you're working on the opposite side of the table and make sure that you're working together. So make sure you go into episode 114. Now, I know I've covered so many more episodes because there's so much great content. And for those that I've missed out, you just go back to into Scale Your Sales podcast and make sure you catch up on all the episodes. It's a perfect thing to do over this Christmas period, but make sure you have your pen and paper with you as well. So I look forward to hearing from you. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Janice B. Gordon. Send me your comments and what is your favorite episode that you listen to. And please share the love with your colleagues and friends. Listen to and review Scale Your Sales podcast on Apple iTunes podcast platform, and also check out the captioned video on my YouTube channel and subscribe to Scale Your Sales weekly podcast. Thank you so much to my listeners that have listened. Thank you so much for those that have reviewed the podcast. It helps more people to find and learn from these fantastic experts. So I'll be seeing you in the new year. Take care. Stay safe.